Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining tonight. Today, we are not here for a routine meeting, but to imagine together we are stepping into a space where education is no longer bound by tradition but rebound through a vision. In this activity, you will be divided into four groups of 8 members each. You're challenged to design an education system from the very beginning, as if nothing existed before. You will decide what knowledge is worth teaching, how learning should be measured, and who should guide the journey, and what kind of environment allows every child to flourish. Think of it as a planting roots in today's soil while daring to give wings to the tomorrow's dreams.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so hello everyone. To guide us, we will reflect on your creations using the six rubrics as mentioned in the message earlier, which are creativity and innovation, relevance and alignment, structure and clarity, collaboration and participation, feasibility and impact, and finally, presentation and engagement. Also, as mentioned earlier, each will be rated on a scale of 1 to 5 for a total of 30 points, with a bonus point rewarded for the most inspiring idea chosen by your peers. But let me emphasize again, as Rishika had mentioned earlier, this is not just an activity, it's an invitation to reimagine education as a living tree. About what we have been doing for all these, for the internships, and rooted in wisdom, branching into creativity, and reaching for the sky with wings of possibility.
As we begin, let's carry these words with us. The principal goal of education is to create humans who create capable of doing new things and not simply repeating what other generations have done. So let us begin and let us craft vision that are bold, humane, and unforgettable.
So I request members of Team One to just raise your hand so that we can see who are from the Team One. So Team One, please raise your hand. Okay, so is no one from Team One? Okay, so Janvi is from Team One. So, hello Janvi. Have you talked with your fellow interns and have you decided on what will you be presenting in the activity?
Actually, no. I thought we were going to talk individually, so I didn't know that we have to do it as a group project. I'm
It's
sorry.
fine. You can speak on your own.
Okay, so when I thought of uniqueness of ideas, when if the education system actually didn't exist per se, I think one of the things that inspired me the most was a education system which didn't concept of textbooks, teachers, students, or anything at all. Instead of grading and classifying people as someone who knows more and who knows less, imagine if we lived in a world where everyone were just co-learners. We learn from everyone. It is even true in this day and age, but just people do not want to believe it, because there are some times when we actually end up learning from like second graders, even the basic most things, like you're just walking on the street, someone picks up a trash, it might be a 4-year old, 5-year old doing it, but that is still something you're learning. So the entire concept of co-learning and coexisting together, that's one of the approaches I would probably, if there was a situation when an education system did not exist, I'd probably get that. Secondly, a place where practical knowledge was given more importance than the theoretical knowledge, as in to say that engineers को they रटना पड़ता है, like textbooks, books रटना पड़ता है पूरा उनको. Instead of that, maybe integrating a system where they have to work on real life problems, like real life problems is how they're taught and how they learn from each other. A system with that, with a hint of obviously theoretical knowledge is the basis of everything. So, with a hint of theoretical knowledge, instead of relying your entire focus on the theoretical knowledge and the whole combination of, exams, competitive exams, and everything, instead of that, practical knowledge, I think, and practical knowledge would do great. And even when you come to the end of your education career, when it comes to something, let's say recruitments or internships, instead of sitting with them asking theoretical questions for interviews, maybe giving them a real life problem and asking them to solve it, and on the basis of how well they solve it, how innovative their thinking is, if they solved it, I think that would be one of the greatest things. Because at the end of the day, as in, let's say, okay, I did 12th may, I did maths, differentiation, integration, but did I ever use it in my life? Not so. So maybe if people taught me how to do, um, let's say, permutations and combinations better, I'd actually use that in my real life sometime. So maybe making the recruitment process also more practical based than the theoretical approach, I think would also be great. And coming to the last ones, instead of making classifying people, like I said earlier, into teachers, students, policymakers, it would be great if all of them played all three roles, as in learners, teachers, and policymakers. All three were like, everyone has an individual say in whatever they do. I think one that would be one of the greatest education systems we could ever have, because everyone has a freedom of choice to choose what they want. Everyone has a freedom of choice to prove their skill, and you can still evaluate them. It is not like you're taking away the core aspect of it, which is evaluation to get your job done. But you're still holding to that one point of evaluation, but you're just changing the approach how it's done so that it becomes more skill based than just theory or attendance based approaches. So thank you.
Well spoken, Janvi. But I just want to ask that, uh, as a policymaker, suppose you are a policymaker, so what will be the rubrics, or what will be the guidelines along which you will execute all of these ideas? Like you mentioned about having the learners, teachers, and policymakers a different role, and then giving a more practical approach with a hint of theory. So what will be the guidelines? What, because even still we have the same thing, we have it on paper, but it's still not implemented. So how are you going to implement it, or what are the guidelines you will use?
So this was the one I spoke about. It's to say that everyone has a say in what happens to themselves, because the policy makers are actually making at the end of the day is for us students in our current education system. So if everyone had a say, and people, let's say we published a guidelines, this is a policy, and there is a guidelines that is published, people who want to confine to those standards can do it. Otherwise you always have unconventional careers to focus on. And but when you actually do this, when you actually make sure that that you're not stratifying people on the basis of how much you've learned in life, it also becomes that you won't look down upon someone. I think that also solves another socio problem that exists about the entire seniority thing. You know how bullying and everything works, right? Like seniors come up to you and they're like, "We are more experienced than you." In what sense? You just went through 3 more semesters than I did. In what sense are you more experienced? I would probably draft a contract better than you do right now. So you can't obviously tell me that I'm a senior. I can bully you because I'm stratified to that level. And the entire concept of semesters as well. Why is it that, how are you telling me that I'm going to learn the entire thing in 5 years? What if I don't? What if I'm just enjoying my time here and I'm not learning at all? But still, at the end of the day, I have a degree. Is it really helping me in real life? No. So giving them the freedom of choice to actually speak what they want, and actually, now then again, now people are like, um, I don't know if you've noticed, people when like they're talking about themselves, they're like, if you're from ICSE, you're more, educated. If you're from state board, you're not so educated. Like, why? How? On what basis are you judging them? Because last year I think, or the year before, the AR one in UPSC was from a state board. So, on what basis are you telling that they're not smart enough? So giving them the freedom of choice to choose what they want and not looking down upon someone who is choosing their unconventional career because they don't want to confine to what rules you've laid down. I think that's one of the most important things for policies.
Well done, Janvi. I really loved your ideas. So, is there someone else from team one who would like to speak? Okay, so if you're not going to speak, you are
I
going to
can
receive less
see
marks on collaboration. All right.
Sneha is there, who's in team one and in the meeting too. Aisha is there.
Yeah, we can't force them to speak, right? So that's why I was saying.
Hi, I'm Sneha, but I'm not aware that I'm part of Team One, and I don't know what's happening now.
I'm really sorry, but do you guys? I don't want to come off as a very rude person, but do you guys read the messages we actually send in the group? Because this is absolutely disappointing that you are not reading the messages, but you're joining in the meeting just for I don't know what reason. Okay, so if there's no one who can speak from this team one, we can move to team two. Um, team two, please raise your hands. Yes, Manisha is there. I can see most of team two's Ishika. Yes. Okay, so just present your ideas and please turn on your cameras.
Uh, Hi Shri, I have a bit to speak about it, but I'm really sorry with the camera bit. I am very sick due to the pollution and I literally just don't look presentable at all. I hope it would be fine with everyone. Yeah, so shall I go on?
Yes, please go on.
Yeah. So, as the topic said about reimagining educations from roots to wings, and in the previous few policy months, we've all been debating a lot about the issues that the Indian education system has and how there is a very, dire need for a reform, and steps are being taken at a lot of level, but how much is translating at the national level? The positions are quite dismal, as we see with a lot of indicators and everything. So, as the theme said, that we have to start right from the roots to adapt to the wings. So, one model that or a policy framework that I want to present is based on a case study. It's a small school that is operating at the outskirts of Bangalore by a techie who returned from Germany. I came across this article, and he is running a school named Vidya Kshetra, so which is based upon two models. Like, he combines the Gurukul model with the Indian education system, and he presents a model of education which is very different from what we follow, like the standard curriculum or a set curriculum, and then routine examinations and all. This is the pattern we have at the national level. But how we design a new education system, which is also well integrated in the at the national level and continues, is something that I would like to bring to the fore, and we can bring it as a policy suggestion that can be scaled across. So my policy suggestion, it's one framework. It has small different components, but yeah. So as I came, the curriculum there is very flexible. There is music, there is weaving, and there is math and Sanskrit. Quite a lot of bizarre things, but how he combines the two is I was reading something and I was listening to a podcast by him, and another aspect that really is something that we can scale up at the national level. So we all would have had SUPWs in our schools. Like, they have this thing in SUPW. I think that a lot of people would have had. Uh, so not a lot of us have taken it quite seriously. Like, I did not, like, because it is not graded, it's not important enough. But then in that school, it is an equally important part of the curriculum. That is where the actual grading lies. Like, there is no examination in those, but it is the performance in this SUPW which actually
teaches them vocational skills at the basic level, like for example, constructing mud bricks to teach about sustainability, or pottery in SUPW is something that tells children to stay connected to their roots, and also gives them a skill or helps them develop a hobby, which can give them wings to have liberty from different types of thoughts they will be thinking, to channelize their creativity. So this is how one aspect, like educating with respect to a skill in developing a hobby through SUPW, can actually be integrated at the national level and help blend creativity as well as vocational education and skill building. Another aspect there was that the children, to be taught responsibility and togetherness, they go to the school garden, and they spend, like, every student spends like 3 hours every week in the school garden working, or if they are growing vegetables or tending to saplings, and taking responsibility for those own things. This teaches them moral skills and the importance of taking responsibility for the small things, and respecting every living matter, because we see that the environmental issues are growing so much, and a lot of us, while we say a lot, are very disconnected from the environment. Like, we know that there is pollution, but then how many of us are actually tending to trees, or imagining that, okay, maybe good trees or good indoor plants could be a help. So this is like small things in the education system that can actually help bring the gap. Now, these are like two aspects on the vocational stuff, or one on vocational, one on moral. But yet we can't avoid that exams are important. We have a CBSE, IB, any level of exam, and people obviously do want a mark sheet and a degree, because we have to go forward and we have to move forward. So the school follows, like, they have enrolled their children into an NIOS framework, and 6 months before, like, the board examination, they help children prepare for the examination. The school runs entirely free of cost and based on donations, or dana, or service as they like to call it. But this thing about we can integrate NIOS, or open system of education, so that students can work on their own progress. They can take examinations, obviously, and they have skill building and as well as curriculum building through respective levels. Also, I would like to bring to the fore that NIOS, like especially in 11th and 12th, you can choose your own subjects and appear accordingly. So what a lot of people have this complaint that we I didn't want to study maths, but I was given maths. This is something that the students can control, what they actually want to study and what they don't want to study. So I think this gives another level of flexibility as well as liberty to choose what they want, and yet study according to the national framework. So right, again, connecting from the roots and being able to give them the uh, the ability to be integrated at the national level would give them wings for their future aspirations to follow. So this is like a small policy idea that I would like to bring to the fore, and I think that we can actually work on this stuff. Like, this is not something very impossible. It is being done. The school Vidya Kshetra that I'm talking about, it began in around 2016 with 13 students. It has grown to 200. If we imagine that actually replicating the model, or using it in innovative ways across India, I think that it can actually be scaled to the national level, and we can connect the roots right up to the wings and make India a great country again with respect to its education. Yeah, I think that would be it from my side.
Hi, Ishrika. So sorry for that crossover. Yeah, I really love the way you spoke about the case study thing. You brought about the case study. The school's name is Vidya Kshetra. Am I not? Am I right?
Yeah, yeah.
Vidya Kshetra. Okay. So that's a very good case study, which is very relevant, and the way you spoke about it was very good. Now, Manisha, you can go next.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
एक्चुअली मुझे एक चीज़ कहनी थी कि मैं अभी जैसे थोड़ी सी बिजी चल रही हूँ, तो मैं इस पर प्रिपेयर नहीं कर पाई हूँ, लेकिन मुझे था कि ये तो मतलब वही चीज़ है जो पूरे दिन मेरे दिमाग में चलती रहती है, तो इस पर हम बोल सकते हैं। तो आई थिंक आई विल नॉट बी प्रॉपर्ली ऑर्गेनाइज्ड, बट मैं अपने आइडियाज़ एक्सप्रेस करना चाहती हूँ कि मुझे क्या लगता है कि पूरा एजुकेशन सिस्टम हम कैसे नए तरीके से रीबिल्ड कर सकते हैं। सो आई गो अहेड, कैन आई?
Yes, you can go on.
ओके, थैंक यू। अम, वैसे तो मेरे फेलोमेट्स ने बहुत कुछ बोल दिया, बहुत ही अच्छा बोला था। कुछ-कुछ चीज़ें थी जो मुझे भी बोलनी थी, मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि ये भी मैं ही बोलती। तो जैसे कि मुझे लगता है कि स्पेसिफिकली हम ये देख सकते हैं कि जब एजुकेशन शुरू होती है, तो पहले हम उससे बात कर सकते हैं कि बच्चों को सिखाना क्या चाहिए सबसे पहले। तो बेसिकली आज की लाइक जो हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम है, उसमें क्या सीख रहे हैं कि जो बहुत सेंचुरीज़ पहले चीज़ें हुई हैं, हम अभी भी वही सीख रहे हैं, जिनका ज़्यादातर अब तक कोई मतलब रह नहीं गया है बेसिकली, और ना ही वो चीज़ें हम अप्लाई कर सकते हैं रियल लाइफ में। उनका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन वैल्यू भी बहुत कम है। तो बेसिकली मुझे लगता है हम एक रॉट लर्निंग के मेथड पर चलते जा रहे हैं कि इस टाइम में ये युद्ध हुआ, इस टाइम में इसने किया, ऐसा-ऐसा हुआ। हालाँकि हमें उसको सीखने को नहीं मिल रहा है, जैसे हम स्टोरीज़ हम उसको याद किए जा रहे हैं। तो मेरे को लगता है कि जो नया एजुकेशन सिस्टम है, हम उसमें ये कर सकते हैं कि जो बच्चे हैं, हम उनको बेसिकली कुछ कोर नॉलेज या स्किल्स हम उनको सिखा सकते हैं। जैसे कि जब बच्चा लाइक 7th या 8th क्लास तक है, तो हम उसे बेसिक लिटरेसी एंड न्यूमरेसी हम सिखा सकते हैं उसे, कि जो मतलब बेसिक चीज़ें हैं, वो उसे आ रही हो। जैसे कि एडिशन, सब्ट्रैक्शन, मल्टीप्लिकेशन, डिवीज़न, ये सब उसे बेसिक चीज़ें पता हो, ताकि आगे जाकर जो और भी चीज़ें वो सीख सके। जैसे कि आगे जाकर हो सकता है कि उसे फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी के बारे में सीखना पड़े, वो सीखेगा ही, तो उसके लिए ज़रूरी है कि उसको बेसिक मैथ्स आए। तो मुझे लगता है कुछ-कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो बेसिक हमें उन्हें सिखानी चाहिए, और अगर मैं आज के टाइम में बात करूँ, तो हमें ज़्यादातर फ़ोकस कंप्यूटर लर्निंग, कोडिंग पर, एआई लर्निंग पर, इस पे ज़्यादा देना चाहिए। फिर मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि इसके साथ-साथ जो हम टेक्स्ट बुक लर्निंग हम उनको सिखा रहे हैं, उसके साथ-साथ हमें उन्हें लाइफ स्किल्स, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस, हाउ टू कम्युनिकेट, हाउ टू सॉल्व अ प्रॉब्लम, हाउ टू गो फॉर अ कोलैबोरेशन, और ये भी सिखानी चाहिए। फिर हम इस पर भी फ़ोकस कर सकते हैं कि हमें बच्चों को माइंडफुलनेस सिखानी चाहिए कि माइंडफुलनेस होती क्या है। हमें सिखाना चाहिए कि आज के टाइम में सेल्फ अवेयरनेस कितनी ज़रूरी चीज़ है, कितनी इम्पोर्टेंट है। बच्चों को हमें एम्पैथी के बारे में सिखाना चाहिए कि इट्स अ वैल्यू व्हिच इज़ लैगिंग बिहाइंड इन टुडेज़ टाइम, कि बच्चे को पता ही नहीं कि एम्पैथी होती क्या है। बस वो लेवल अपग्रेड होना चाहते हैं कि इससे आगे, इससे आगे, इससे आगे। तो बेसिकली ये कुछ कोर वैल्यूज़ हैं, जो आपके नॉलेज के साथ जो बेसिक टेक्स्ट बुक नॉलेज है उसके साथ भी आपको सीखनी चाहिए, ताकि आपकी जर्नी और बच्चों की जर्नी और ईज़ी हो सके। फिर मुझे लगता है कि जैसे आज के टाइम में हम सीख रहे हैं सब कुछ, कि ये लाइक इंग्लिश, हिंदी, लैंग्वेज, सब्जेक्ट्स वगैरह हम सीख रहे हैं। तो मेरे को लगता है हमें जो लाइक क्रिएटिव लर्निंग है, उस पर भी हमें फ़ोकस करना चाहिए। जैसे कि हमें बच्चों को सिखाना चाहिए कि आर्ट्स क्या चीज़ है, म्यूज़िक क्या चीज़ है, स्टोरी टेलिंग एक स्किल्स है, जो बच्चों को आनी चाहिए। अगर वो आए तो लाइक उनके लिए और भी अच्छा होगा। हमें उन्हें सिखाना चाहिए कि डांस अपने आप में एक आर्ट की फ़ॉर्म है, तो वो क्यों ज़रूरी है, आप उसे कैसे एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हो, साउंड हीलिंग क्या होती है। हम उन्हें सिखा सकते हैं कि गार्डनिंग अपने आप में एक इट्स नॉट कि मतलब गार्डनिंग करना एक काम है, वो एक अलग इट्स अ वे ऑफ एक्सप्रेसिंग समथिंग, या फिर आप नेचर से कैसे रिलेट कर पा रहे हो, हमें उनके बारे में उनको सिखाना चाहिए। जैसे मुझे लगता है कि हाँ, हमें लाइक स्कूल में मुझे कभी सिखाया नहीं गया कि कुकिंग क्यों ज़रूरी है, कैसे हो सकती है, क्या-क्या होती है। लाइक जिन्होंने होम साइंस सब्जेक्ट ले रखा था उनको तो था, लेकिन हमें कभी नहीं सिखाया गया। तो आई थिंक इट्स अ कॉमन थिंग जो सबको आनी चाहिए। ऐसे नहीं कि जिसने होम साइंस ले रखी है बस उसी को आनी चाहिए। दूसरा कि अब जैसे मैंने कहा कि ऐसी-ऐसी लर्निंग होनी चाहिए। बेसिकली मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि लर्निंग ऐसी हो कि बच्चे खुद जाके जो सीख रहे हैं उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करें। आई थिंक मराठी में आई थिंक वो पोएट ही हैं, उन्होंने कुछ कहा था इस बारे में, एक उनका कोट था जो कि मराठी में था, तो मुझे मराठी आती नहीं है, तो मैं उसको हिंदी में बोल देती हूँ। उन्होंने कहा था कि अगर आपकी नॉलेज एप्लीकेबल नहीं हो रही है, आप जो सीख रहे हो उसको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर रहे हो, तो वो नॉलेज किसी काम की नहीं है। तो मुझे लगता है कि अब जो सीख रहे हो हमें उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो मुझे लगता है कि बच्चों की जो क्लासरूम्स आज के टाइम में जैसे हमारे होते हैं, तो वैसे नहीं होने चाहिए। मुझे लगता है बच्चों की जो क्लासरूम है वो शिफ्ट होने चाहिए टाइम के साथ-साथ, एक्टिविटीज़ के साथ-साथ। जैसे जैसे कि आज हम कोई सोशल वर्क करने जा रहे हैं, तो बच्चे आज स्लम में हैं, वो देख रहे हैं कि स्लम्स की लाइफ़ कैसे हो सकती है। हमें एकदम बेयर मिनिमम सर्वाइव हम कैसे कर सकते हैं, लोगों को क्या-क्या दिक्कत हो रही है बेसिक नेसेसिटी को फुलफिल करने में भी। फिर हो सकता है कि हम कहीं पर जा रहे हैं कि सोलर एनर्जी क्या होती है, तो बेसिकली वो वहाँ जा रहे हैं फील्ड पे जहाँ पर सोलर पैनल लगी हुई हैं, वो देख रहे हो कि वो चीज़ कैसे काम करती हैं। जो विंड मिल होती है उसके पास जा रहे हैं कि ये कैसी चीज़ें होती है। एग्रीकल्चर का कोई टॉपिक है, ईवीएस का कोई टॉपिक है, तो वो फील्ड सर्वे पे जा रहे हैं, लाइक मेंटर उन्हें बता रहे हैं कि ऐसा होता है, वैसा होता है। तो मुझे लगता है क्लोज्ड क्लासरूम नहीं होना चाहिए। बच्चे को आप जितना लाइक बैटलफील्ड में उतार सकते हो, आप उसको उतारो, वो देखेगा चीज़ें, सीखेगा, ऑब्जर्वेशन से वो ज़्यादा सीखेगा। क्योंकि बेसिकली हम क्लासरूम में बैठ के बात कर रहे होते हैं कि ताजमहल वहाँ है, वहाँ है, तो बेसिकली हम इमेजिन कर सकते हैं। पर एक ये हो गया कि आप डैम के पास जा रहे हो, देख रहे हो कि डैम कैसे बिल्ट होता है, कैसे उसके अंदर पानी है, कैसे उसको खोला जाता है। तो आई थिंक वो ज़्यादा एक अच्छा मेथड है लर्निंग का। और जैसे अभी हमारे एजुकेशन में लाइक एजुकेशन सिस्टम में ये है कि बच्चों को हम कैसे मेजर करते हैं, हमारे एग्जाम्स होते हैं। तो बेसिकली हमारी एसजीपीए सीजीपीए आती है, और जो बच्चे 9th 10th 11th रहते हैं उनकी परसेंटेज आती है। तो मुझे लगता है कि ये सिस्टम तो बहुत ही बेकार है। तो उसकी जगह हम ये कर सकते हैं कि बेसिकली हमारे एजुकेशन का मोटो क्या है कि हम उन्हें प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग सिखा रहे हैं। हम उनको सिखा रहे हैं कि आप बाहर जाओ, ऐसे ऐसे करो। तो हम एक रख सकते हैं बैच सिस्टम। उसमें बच्चों के जितने भी अचीवमेंट होंगे हम उनको स्किल बैज देकर सेलिब्रेट करेंगे, ना कि ग्रेड्स देकर। जैसे कि कोई एक बच्चा है जिसे लाइक कम्युनिकेशन उसका बहुत अच्छा है, तो हम उसे एक बैच दे सकते हैं कम्युनिकेशन एक्सपर्ट या गुड कम्युनिकेटर। या फिर एक कोई बच्चा है जिसे लाइक उसका एक टैलेंट या स्किल हम कह सकते हैं कि जो बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स चीजों को एक सिंपल वे में समझा देते हैं, तो हम उससे लाइक उसके हिसाब से एक बैच दे सकते हैं, हम उसे सेलिब्रेट कर सकते हैं। क्योंकि मुझे लगता है ग्रेड्स का सिस्टम ये नहीं होता कि आपको कितने ग्रेड्स मिले, उसमें ये भी आ जाता है कि किसको कम मिले, किसको ज्यादा मिले, कौन कहाँ पर रैंक कर रहा है। तो मुझे लगता है कि रैंक करना सिस्टम अच्छा नहीं है। जो जो आपके अचीवमेंट्स है उनको सेलिब्रेट करना चाहिए। और दूसरा ये हो सकता है कि जब ये जर्नी चल रही होगी तो बच्चों को गाइड कौन करेगा, बच्चों को मेंटरशिप कौन देगा। तो मुझे लगता है कि जैसे हमारे टीचर्स फिक्स होते थे कि हिंदी ये पढ़ाएंगे, इंग्लिश ये पढ़ाएंगे। लाइक मेरे तो 1st to 5th टीचर भी सेम ही रहे हैं, 5 साल चेंज भी नहीं हुए थे। तो मुझे ये लगता है कि जैसे बच्चों की जो मेंटर्स है वो एक मेंटर नहीं होने चाहिए, बहुत लाइक 3 मेंटर होने चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से। पहला जो बच्चे को लाइक एक्सपर्ट्स गाइड्स या टीचर जो हम कह सकते हैं, वो उसे गाइड कर रहे होंगे कि आपको यहाँ ये करना है, ये यहाँ करना है। दूसरा एक उसका मेंटर होना चाहिए, पीयर मेंटर, जो उसके साथ में ही रहता है या फिर उससे देखता है, वो एक ही क्लासरूम में या फिर एक ही फील्ड पर है, ताकि वो उसे बता सके कि अच्छा तू यहाँ गलत था, तो देखो ऐसा करना चाहिए था। वो उस एंगल से वो आई थिंक जो उसे फीडबैक देगा वो अच्छे से समझ पाएगा। तीसरा मेंटर वो हो सकता है कि जब हम लाइक बच्चे कहीं जा रहे लाइक स्लम में हैं, तो वहाँ कोई लाइक कोई आर्टिशियन हो गया, कोई लेबरर हो गया, या फिर कोई ओल्ड फेलो, जिनको हम कह सकते हैं कि एक्सपीरियंस्ड, लाइक जैसे हम बोलते हैं कि वो ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस है, तो आई थिंक वो एनी टाइम उनके साथ रहने चाहिए। एनी टाइम इन द सेंस कि उन्हें गाइड कर सके। क्यों? क्योंकि जो पहले 2 मेंटर मैंने बताए वो उसको नॉलेजेबल फीडबैक देंगे, यहाँ गलत, यहाँ सही है, वो ये नहीं। जो तीसरा मेंटर मैंने बताया कि एक ओल्ड पर्सन, वो उसको वैल्यू सिखाएगा, वो उसको प्रिंसिपल सिखाएगा, वो उसको सिखाएगा कि नॉलेज के साथ एम्पैथी भी कितनी जरूरी है, आपको उस फील्ड में सर्वे में बिहेव कैसे करना चाहिए था, आपकी टोन ऊपर नीचे थी। तो आई थिंक वो बहुत जरूरी है कि बच्चे हर एक्सपेक्ट से वो सीख रहे हैं। ये काम हो गया, उसके बाद सपोज कि हम कुछ मतलब कुछ और करने जा रहे हैं, तो वहां पर उस बच्चे के मेंटर चेंज हो जाएगा। क्योंकि लाइक एक इंसान है, तो उसकी लाइक सोच लाइक उस फील्ड में रहते रहते उसकी थिंकिंग भी वहीं तक हो जाती है कई बार। तो मुझे लगता है कि जिस फील्ड में लाइक आपको फील्ड डाइवर्सिफाई हो रहा है, तो आपके मेंटर भी अलग अलग होने चाहिए, ताकि आपको हर जगह से नॉलेज मिल रही हो कि अच्छा ये कह रहा है, ये कह रहा है, ऐसा ऐसा।
Manisha, you are muted.
अभी या पहले से ही?
No, right now, just right now.
थैंक
Okay, so Manisha, well spoken. Although I would suggest that you guys give us clear structure कि ठीक है हम ये करना चाहते हैं. Okay, because that's literally one of the main rubrics we are considering for assessment. But overall, well spoken, and I love the way you मतलब उन्होंने पूरा वो दिखाया कि हमारे सिस्टम में क्या लैक करता है, व्हाट वी कैन ऐड इन इट. सो वेरी वेल स्पोकन, मनीषा. Now, Ganesh, you can go next.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Please turn on your cameras.
Okay.
Hi, Ganesh. Are you still there? Uh, Ganesh, are you still there? Just a minute, guys. I think Ganesh is having some problems. Ishita, you can go next. We can just. Okay, he
Okay.
left the meeting. Okay.
Yeah,
Please
sure.
go next, Ishita.
Actually, the thing I got confused with was I thought we were going to get on the call and have this group activity. So I think that's why like we all didn't like prepare like one particular system which we could propose. So I'll just like get started with just concluding like both their points because this is what I've had in my mind as well. So basically, what Ishika spoke about, I read this case study as well, the NIOS system, and I think it's a great way to like bridge the gaps between like the educational whatever the education system is. I think it's a great way to fix that, and it gives like them the freedom to choose I read that you can choose minimum 5 subjects and maximum 7 subjects as per your liking. So I think that's great because you can choose from any field and you can, explore so much from that. And there's no pressure of, the so called board exam. Obviously, there is, like, it is itself a recognized board, but, it takes off that pressure. And the main issue of our education system is that it pressurizes children from a very young age. Like I see my neighbors' kids who are now in UKG first standard and they're sending them to tuitions. And I feel like it's really not necessary because it puts a mental pressure on them from the beginning, saying they have to get certain grades, and that's the only reason they'll be considered a good a child. So I think the pressure aspect is handled really well by the NIOS system. And when it comes to Nishtha, if I'm not wrong, sorry, Manisha, she spoke about how the you know communication skills and like other real life skills are really important, and even hands-on learning like practical learning is important. So I feel like why Indian employment is not uh, like obviously we are really employable, and a lot of big companies look for Indian candidates and everything. But when it comes to the skills, right, like we are taught from the beginning, like we are again given training, and then I mean it is normal, like, but the thing with practical learning is I feel like it gives you that extra hand where you don't need that much of a push from anyone, and you already know kind of how the system works, and it's just not practical knowledge. You are doing a hands-on learning as you're learning through the subjects. And this kind of system is found everywhere, in UK and Finland, and like because of this, I think even Indian students after their undergraduation or whatever choose to kind of go abroad because they're like, इतना theory कर लिया है हमने, थोड़ा practical भी कर ले, क्योंकि after undergrad I feel like maybe see I have done political science and economics, and I want to do economics based jobs, and I have personally faced this where I'm not well equipped for that because economics में like financial बहुत लगता है skills, and that is very less in undergrad. But the same degree if I would have done in another country, it would have been very different. It would have landed me better opportunities in the aspect of like the maybe working in like an economic background, like my field role, or like even working through the government. They have so many economist ka roles, but yeah, I think the problem is practical learning is kind of held back in India. And one more thing I would like to tell from my experience is that we would do so I was in sorry, I'm lagging. I was in an NGO called UNI. So we would work to bridge the gap between the what they're learning, what the children are learning, and what level they're actually at to learn. So, for example, a child in third grade is passed from third grade to fourth grade just on the basis of the regular exams or whatever, and because the government is required to do so for government schools. But they go from third to fourth grade. But do they have the same level of understanding for a fourth grade syllabus? No. That's the gap that we found out, and we try to bridge this by giving them like extra tuitions. So this kind of a system can be implemented in the education system itself by a concept called teaching at the same level. So it does not matter what age you're at, or like what standard you have to keep proceeding to. It just matters what level of learning you are at right now. Maybe it might not differ that much that time. Say now a person who's supposed to be speaking fluently in English, say at 12, 13 years old, is not able to frame words as well. That this is what we found in government school children. So this gap is what is going to work to like kind of give them the proper knowledge instead of just keep promoting them to the next level and next level. So I feel like these three things we should implement. Oh, and one more thing, I really like the fact that I don't know if Ishika or Manisha mentioned this, the outdoor learning, like just not stuck in our classrooms and everything. So I'm a very like I just work better in the outdoors for some reason. And I would love the fact that, if we actually go out and learn and, like in the nature and everything, I think that it's kind of a stimulator. So I think it's great. So I think a system where you could, reduce the pressure on the children by introducing something like an iOS system, and then practical learning, and also making sure that you are teaching them on the same level of their learning, and not just promoting them to the next class. So these three things is what I came up with. Yeah, thank you.
Great, Ishita. Great ideas. I love that you all three talked about vocational learning and practical learning, as this will make us more employable. Basically, it will give us more skills which can be used in while going to get jobs and all. And other than that, a good point of brain drain, how very capable students from here go to abroad and then they do jobs there. So, which leads to brain drain from our country. Very great points, very good. Next, I would like to call Ganesh.
I think he's not in the meeting, so let's just move to anyone from team 2 wants to say anything else? Okay, no one else.
Just a second. I just wanted to say that, I love Rishita's points and how she like brought what the three of us spoke. It kind of summarizes in synergy about, as Ritik also mentioned, that the importance of practical and vocational education and the systems or policies that we can actually practically implement. So I just wanted to say like it really brought like came together, and I had this confusion as well that we would think about the policy prescription in this meeting, but I think this kind of summarizes what we thought as a team, maybe.
Uh, Thank you, Ishika. So now I will like to move on to team 3. So
Hi,
please,
I have one question. Actually, I am in team one, but I am little bit late to join. So when I
you can do one thing after everyone is done speaking from all the names. You can then speak. Is that fine with you?
yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes. So,
ma'am.
Chaitanya, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm from team three.
Oh, sorry, I messed up for that. Yes, please go on, Chaitanya.
Okay, so am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, so when I first, read the topic on the group that we had to discuss, uh, if the topic that if we were to start the education system from zero, then what we would do. And the first question that came into my mind was that why? Why do we need to, start from zero? And so I looked at the drawbacks or the fallbacks of the current education system, that these are the reasons that we can think of to, because of them, we can start a new education system. And I found many, but the one that I found most relevant was that, see, we all study and complete our degrees to get employed, basically. We want to find our occupation. But a problem that many of us found that many people found in the later stages of their education, for example, in 12th grade or after completing their graduation, they're left confused that I don't know what career I can choose, what occupations do I have as do I have as an option, and even those who are employed, who are currently serving their due, do not feel like they're enjoying it there, and think that maybe they are doing great in that occupation. But if asked that do you want to change to something that you like, the answer is most probably gonna be yes. So I thought of that as a problem and thought to design a top-down approach to solve this. So what I thought was if we can classify and list all the occupations that we have present, and we have to be very particular about that and follow all the latest trends. For example, in the today's age, we can consider social media influencer also as an occupation. People are having a great time there. So we have to keep the list updated, and we will just classify all the occupations that are currently in the market, and then list down 15 to 20 or 30 or maybe even 30 qualities that are required to pursue and be great in that occupation and perform there, and just divide them into clusters with similar occupations. For example, an actor and a social media influencer maybe can be called into one cluster. And then obviously because we cannot classify 20 qualities which would be different for each occupation, there would be some similarities, there would be some overlaps. Okay. And now just divide those qualities into age levels according to when can we see them in the children and according to their importance. So, for example, there are certain qualities that you can observe at a student at age 10, and you think so. We just keep narrowing down as the children grows. So we started from age 10, then age 11, 12, 13. So, for example, if a student is showing great leadership skills, then maybe he can, go into entrepreneurship. If a student is good at acting, then maybe he can go into that cluster, so that when a children grows and he's at his later part of career or later part of education system at maybe 11th grade, or maybe when he's asked to choose degrees what he want to, he's not left confused that what do I wanna choose career, do I want to choose. So he knows that these are my qualities, these are my best points, and this is the cluster of occupations that I, if I go, then I'll better. So uh, think we can. And obviously, if you want this at a policy level, some changes would be required. Then some. But what I'm saying is that this can be a starting point of thought that we can go along this line and devise a perfect policy. How can we implement this in the real life? And yeah, basically that's all from my side.
Uh, yes. So, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, so very well spoken, Chaitanya. I love how you pointed out differences and what changes can be brought in here. So is okay, Vani, you can go next.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes,
Thank
you're
you.
audible.
Okay, thank you. So basically, I was hearing all the input that everyone has given, and there are very interesting things that everyone has said, and they are quite unique. As most of us have said, that when it comes to creating an education system, especially for India from scratch, there is a lot that comes into play from all the policy manthans we have had and the articles we have written and the research we have done. There is some core issues that I think all of us have noticed by now, which is that India not only has diversity in every aspect, like socioeconomic, linguistic, cultural, but also there's a lot of social biases and prejudice that exist, which hinder causes an hindrance when it comes to education, whether it's like gender discrimination, caste discrimination, all of these things. Well, we do have policies, but they are not working. So if I were to create an education system from scratch, it would be keeping all those things in mind. Um, in India specifically, when I'm talking about the socioeconomic difference, when I was doing my research, came across the fact that 66% of the youth, that the young children that are gonna go to school, 66% of them are in rural areas, and only 30 something percent are in urban areas. So I, of course, when I'm creating policy, I have to keep in mind that my major chunk is in rural areas, and when it comes to rural areas, all the problems that I mentioned is over there. So I have to create a system that is going to tackle with that, because when I have such a big youth capital in such an area, if they are deprived from education, then my education system is already a flop before it even starts. So in the meetings that we have had before, I came across different solutions. One of them I have mentioned is decentralization. So I'm going to decentralize, and I'm going to give every state the power to come up with all the things that they need. We had talked about letting children have curriculum, but in even those, we understood that children cannot have a full say. So I'm gonna say that, okay, well, here's a non-negotiables. I want every child to know maths. I want every child to know English. I want every child to know science, SST, and all of these things. I want these children to be aware of these things. The rest, you decide what you want to teach these children. So when it comes to rest, you decide. All these states are gonna obviously implement mother tongue. So children are gonna be learning in their mother tongue, which is the easiest when it comes to early education. So from the age 4 to, let's say, 6 or 7, when a child is when they are just out of home in their homes, they are more familiar with the mother tongue. So let's continue that. Let's not suddenly give them a break and be like, okay, the moment you are in nursery, here you go, everything is in English, a language that many of them are not aware of. To make these children comfortable also, but also let them understand what's happening in school, I'm gonna be like, okay, 4 to 7 years, let's only do mother tongue. So every state is going to teach in the mother tongue, so children are gonna understand better. And for these children, when it comes to young children, we are going to do cartoon based educational videos. Now for me personally, maybe it's because I was early 2000s child, the cartoons I grew up watching were better. One of the best examples I remember is Noddy. In the cartoon, now that I am grown up and I look back, they were talking about cleanliness, they were talking about friendship, being kind to people, and being good to your neighbors. And cartoon nowadays are absolutely pathetic. They are making these children aggressive. They are teaching them the worst things possible. And when you're a child, what you watch is what you soak up. You're like a sponge. And so I want to use these cartoons to teach these children different things that are actually useful. So educational cartoons are going to be there. And of course, a lot of visual based education for these children, because they are very young to be studying all the time, like 7 hours, 6 hours. These are very young children. So that's for early age. Then I'm gonna go to upper primary. So from the age 9 to 12 or 8 to 13, we are gonna slowly, of course, when these children early education, we are gonna go teach them. As I said, English is a non-negotiable. So these children are aware of English, but they're not only studying everything in English. So by the time they are 8 years old or 9 years old, they are in touch with English. So we are gonna slowly transition to English also being heavily involved now, so that the children are in touch with the language they know, but also they have a new language. They're going to learn more instead of lose themselves to only English. And when it comes to upper primary, I'm going to include these children too, as some of us have suggested that let these children go outside and learn. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to suggest that let's take these children outside. Let's not only keep these children in class and learn. Critical thinking is there. Also, local history and culture, let the children know where they come from. Let the children have connection to the states or culture or the background of the place they are. That's the way they are going to learn. That's the easiest way to teach them things. No, let's not completely focus on abroad and this is what is happening in this state, this is this state. Let's focus at home. That's the easiest way to teach children, because obviously India, with the diversity it has, there is something to learn in every culture, in every state, in every aspect. So I would take that in also. And then project based education is going to be there. So these children are going to now learn how to speak, communication, group activities. Then in higher secondary and higher school and secondary school, this is where I'm going to start with the education. I'm going to also let these children now, because they are older. So this is like by the age 13 to 17, you are old enough to understand what you want to do, you're mature enough to understand, and you're now developing your interest to a level where you might be able to say that, you know what, I want to become a pilot as a career. You're not just saying ki, oh, I saw a plane. When you're young, you will just say like, oh, I saw a rocket, now I want to be an astronaut. The other day you saw a doctor in TV, there you go, you want to be a doctor. So now this age, the child is aware ki, okay, I'm understanding these subjects, I know what's happening over here, let me try this. So this is the age where I'll be like, okay, now you bring in the main subjects. As I mentioned before, for, as I said, decentralized education. So marine ecology, mining technology, engineering, in like we have mines, we have hydro factories, energies and stuff like that, solar energy. So let's bring all of these in. Now they are in higher secondary and secondary education, and also involve vocational internships and volunteering and all of these things. Now from the early to the higher stage, I am going to slowly, since they are young, I'm going to bring in stuff like gender discrimination to combat that problem. I'm going to start these children very young and teach different ways, where I'm going to normalize that, you know what, this girl boy discrimination, let's not bring it in. Even with caste, I want to start it very young. Let's not, because here's the problem, sometimes things like that might exist at home, but in school a child is spending 14 years. I can change these things. 14 years is a good amount of time for me to change this mentality. So since they are young, let's bring in these things, that value based education. Let's not teach children to judge because of gender or discriminate because of caste or any other reason. And all of these are things are going to happen now. As I said, rural area, I have to focus over there. So how am I the stuff that I said, when it comes to cartoon based learning, digital learning, video learning, I have to keep in mind that my rural India does not have all the facilities, technology, Wi-Fi, data. How am I going to combat that? We can use NGOs, we can use panchayati offices, because our rural area has 3 panchayat tiers. So we can use each of those tiers. We can use the panchayat offices, or at least a room where all these children who, in villages where we do not have children who have Wi-Fi and data and smartphones, let these children come together in Anganwadi centers or panchayati offices. Let them study over there. Let's, maybe we can have a, obviously someone in these areas, because you're earning, these areas are being funded by the government, there's at least going to be a TV or a radio or a smartphone. At least someone will have one of those things. So let all the children who might not be able to get that type of advantage, let them come in these areas,
learn. So in that way, my rural children are not out of education just because they do not have a smartphone or data or Wi-Fi. Radios have educational stuff. We have DD National that has educational shows going on all day. We also have a lot of apps that the government still has. I'm gonna if I am bringing my education system, of course I'm gonna continue that. So yes, these are the ways I would deal with it. And with teachers, I will obviously take NGO. This is also something I said, that NGO is very important. NGO is doing a great job. So there's so many examples of NGO going above and beyond, doing what government is even not able to do. So let's use their help, because they are in grassroots level. They are more aware than what government is, because government is very far away. So let's use these NGOs that are there in every state to teach teachers, when it comes to, let these teachers get trained through the NGOs. Let these teachers learn the ways you tackle with children, the right way to deal with all these situations, so that all the problems that we have, they don't even arise. Because these children, when you don't teach children what how to differentiate when it comes to caste, how to judging a woman or a girl, when you don't even let them know that, they're not going to be part of a society or be members of a society that promote these type of activities. So that would be my educational system. Thank you.
Excellent, Vani. I first of all, I absolutely love that you brought the point that how from our education system we can fight with all the societal issues, societal like prejudice and stereotypes are working in our society, like caste discrimination, gender discrimination. Great point. Other than that, you are very right. Are most of the education problems students who face are based on in rural areas, so we can focus on those areas through decentralization. And the one more point you mentioned about Anganwadi thing, very great. And other thing you talked about mother tongue. Even this is the study which is done. That's why NEP also emphasizes on mother tongue, because when we teach students in their mother tongue, they are able to think more creatively. So very great points. Absolutely loved your points. Anyone left with team 3 who is willing to speak? No one is here. Okay. So then let's move to team 4. Team 4 people. Okay. Himani, you can go ahead. Himani.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So, okay. So, when I first read about this, the task we have been given, we have to reimagine the entire education system from the roots to wings. And when I think about roots, it's like when the child is young at the age of 2 or 3 years and they are just being sent to schools. And that is when the roots are put in, not just in educational aspect, but as a person itself also. Because I believe education or schools, they are a mode which develop your thinking capacities, which are basically the foundation of your thinking and a person. So my educational model would be based on cognitive thinkings, because I believe this is something that helps become a person that would be like serving the entire nation as as a citizen. Just a second. Okay. Yes. So sorry for that. So what I would propose as my revised or as reimagined version of education system would be an education system which is divided in three parts or three phases. And these phases would be based on the cognitive thinking or cognitive abilities of a person or students. The first stage, which I believe is starts from the early age of 3 or 4 years when the students are enrolled in the schools, and it would be till around 7 or 8 years. And this is the foundational stage of thinking where children are not supposed to be burdened with heavy books, but they are just entering into the world and they are learning things. And at this stage, we can instill the good habits, the civic sense, and the civic duties, which is basically how to treat others. As previously has been also mentioned, that we need to create and cultivate students who know how to conduct themselves and the society as well. So as a whole, they should know that mimicking things, because for students, for young kids, mimicking things is something that's how they learn. If we are saying something, they'll mimic it right away, because they think this is the how the system works, or this is how life works. And if we are teaching them the good qualities, if we are teaching them the proper manners, this is how they will learn. So firstly, it is something that is attention based, and for that, we need systems like play based learning. We can have uh, emotional intelligence, that they should be sensitized towards little things, that they should be taking care of little animals. They shouldn't, like, for example, I'm someone who really likes dogs, but I see a lot of children burning crackers around dogs to chase them or to do something. So we can teach them this is not this is not how the system works. This is not how things should be. They are animals and they too have lives and they too feel things. Also, what I would like the learning model in this to be like things should be sensory based, which is already like in system right now, but it could be like they could be taken to different for nature walks. They could be taken to different places where they meet other people or meet other students. They see different heritage systems. That is how they build curiosity as young people, like young students or young children. And another thing is, I really believe that sports and hobbies. These two things are quite necessary, as they build a spatial reasoning as well. Because as someone who is not very good at sports, I believe this has impacted me in like these years, like late 20s or mid 20s, early 20s of my life as well. And for others, they are quite confident with their body, they trust themselves more. So that is also something that helps. And the second phase would be when the subjects or the domains which are quite like mainstream right now would be instilled or introduced towards the students, but not in the generic or traditional way that they are right now. For me, I believe that the motive or the purpose of teaching subjects is to help the students understand what their link or connection is to the real world. For example, if I'm a student of history, I know that these wars have been fought at this time. But now I know, after preparing for like exams like UPSC, how to relate it to my life and how to relate it to the system, like the institutions. I believe this could have been taught in the schools as well. Like, what is the point of learning history? It is the point that we should not repeat the same mistakes, and we should learn from the mistakes of the past rulers or past whatever leaders. And similarly, the other example could be that if we are reading the constitution, we should know why we are reading the constitution. It is not something that we need to read just to fetch marks. It is something that we need to connect as citizens. Like, this is our rights, we should be aware of these things. So that, and again, I would like to emphasize on uh, three things in this stage. First would be sports, because I believe nurturing students and fostering them towards a particular sport can develop into career opportunities as well, because this can become something that they could pursue as a career. Another thing is that their hobbies, because cultivating hobbies fosters creative thinking and analytical skills as well. For example, I am someone who likes to embroider, but I have never met anyone who is like the traditional craftsman. So if by my school I could have gotten the opportunity to visit some places like this would have been amazing. Like, this could have given me the real exposure, and this could have connected me more towards this. Uh, the real world of embroidery. And for other kids also, like, a lot of people have different skills, different hobbies, but they do not have that real exposure which connects them to the people who are actually practicing this craft. So this could be another opportunity. And the third one is community volunteering, because sensitizing students at this age where they could either turn into good persons or rebels for the like a long period of their life. Sensitizing them towards this gives like an edge where they develop themselves as well as the society as a whole. And for the other subjects, as I already mentioned, that the purpose of teaching subjects should not be just for the basis of evaluation. It should be how well the students like have connected this to the real world, and this should be the assessment also, because with all these different things, like for example sports, hobbies and community volunteership subjects, it is a portfolio that can be made as an assessment, like evidence based assessment, that the student has done this and the student is being evaluated on base of this portfolio that they have created, instead of the like the traditional system of marks. And also, if still like I believe theoretical understanding is quite important, as it was also previously mentioned, because the theoretical understanding or theoretical mastery is something that will be needed afterwards. So this could also be like a plus, like an addition to this, like we can have some tests, but the main assessment would be evidence based. Also, after the end of the second phase, I believe this is the stage where the main role is of finalizing which careers or which interests you want to pursue for the rest of your life. So for this, I believe that we can go for mentorings, personalized mentorings, like first of all, counselings and psychometric tests, which could understand the student at different levels, and it could understand how they want to, like for a psychometric test, a lot of things even the students haven't like self introspected. Psychometric tests reveal that as well. And with one-on-one mentoring and personalized mentoring, it could benefit a lot of students to understand which fields they want to navigate themselves into. And for the last, like final stage, it would be something that is based on analytical thinking and critical thinking, like something that just doesn't help them to get scores or reach good colleges based on the merits they got, but actually some skills that they have developed. Because the previous, I would like to connect the previous, like the skills and emphasis on the hobbies and all these things to this part, because now they will be deciding what careers they want, what like paths they want to follow. And for this, the student should have the flexibility to choose whatever subjects. Like if a student wants to choose economics and psychology, they should be allowed to do that, because afterwards they would make sense of how their interest serves. Also, one core point I want to mention is that the like the restriction between the classes. For example, if I'm a student who is good at maths but not similarly well at other subjects like social sciences, the student should be allowed to take like the student should be allowed to take the subject of mathematics of grade 4. But if the student is slightly not as good in the similar subject, they should be allowed to take the social science subject of grade 2 as well. Because if we are trying to encourage students to learn at their speed and learn at their like, they don't have to compete with everybody, they just have to compete with themselves. They have to become a better version of themselves at the end of the day. And this is what we have been taught, but only after we have failed in our 20s. Because now we see that after the failure we have been told that you don't need to compete with everybody else, but this is the thing that has been fostered into us the whole, like for the whole school life, that you are competing with others. But this is not the case, and it shouldn't be the case, because of the peer pressure, a lot of school students drop out as well, because they don't want to go to school, because they feel that they will be judged and they will also be held back psychologically as well. So this could be something that could help uh, motivate or encourage every student to be a part of the school system and learning system at their own pace, so that they don't have to like run faster just to just to get to the finish line. They should just learn at their own pace. And similarly, the assessment would be like with some concrete capstone projects, like the students interested in their domains could research something about them or create some, for example, if they're interested in entrepreneurship, they could create like a small business model. Or if they're interested in, for example, public policy, they could come up with a policy brief. This could be something that would become an evidence, like how they are being assessed. And lastly, I would like to mention one important thing which I believe is that for like even the earlier phases also, newspaper reading and linking it to the real world and the subjects they are being taught is very important, because I believe we nowadays we are getting our information only from social media, and which can be like can be fabricated a lot. The information we get from AI, it can be fabricated. So for me, I believe that newspapers and linking the subjects and the real world, it could become a bridge which would also serve in developing the critical thinking and analytical abilities of the children. So that would be my model for education system. Thank you so much.
Great, Himani. I loved how you divided your whole education system in three phases, where first phase will focus on early age education, where we won't be giving a heavy book-based education. Instead of, we will be doing play-based education, focus on sports and hobbies. And then second, we came to a bit secondary and higher thingy, where we'll be giving domains, where we'll be asking them to stuff relating to their we'll be teaching through relating to the real life situations, so they can connect more and do not feel bored. And then I love the point you brought about community volunteering, and then portfolio thing was also very nice, where instead of ranking and doing marks things, we can make portfolio and do evidence based thing. And the third thing, career, where this is a very good point, that we should bring mentors in, when mentors in the test, psychometric test, when we are supposed to decide our careers. Because there are many a times where students go to the wrong path, they waste the years there. Well, nothing is wasted, knowledge is never considered as waste, but still they do waste some years and then go to the right path they were supposed to. So very good, great efforts. Awesome. Yeah. Now next, Rajveer, you can speak.
So as Himani discussed about the phases, so there are some points I just want to add it, as we earlier did discuss it also. Like the group 4 discuss it also. Uh, so it's so what's the major problem the students feel in the schools is a lot learning, where we just have to learn what the syllabus is and we have to write a paper. So whether should be a continuous assessment thing. That's the thing which we do in our colleges. Like we have to evaluate childrens on the overall curriculums, like what they did in the classrooms, what they did in the tests, and what they like how they present their assignments. So we have to evaluate them over all of these extracurricular things also, like what they doing in sports or writing or music, rather than just evaluating them in a yearly based exams. So this is the one point I want to discuss it. The second would be the community outing projects. We have to take out the childrens on a ground report thing. Like we can take them to a historical places where they have to observe and they have to make kind of a report. From this, they will get more understanding about the history, like if they visit the historical places. So this can be done in the schools for a better understanding. And the third would be the newspaper reading, as the Himani discussed it all earlier. So when I was in the fifth standard, our English teachers gave us an assignment where we have to write a news and then we have to explain the classroom. So this can be done in the schools from the primary level. Then that benefit students on both the sides. They will get knowledge about what is happening around the world and even the presentation skills also. So these are the 3 points, and the 4 point, as the Himan discussed in the phase 2, would be the subject choices. Like it should be a flexible model where students can choose math with the social science if they're interested, and the math should be the class 4 and the social science of the class 6 if they're interested in. So these are the points I want to discuss this, and then later we'll discuss this. These are the points I want to discuss. These are the 4 5 points I learned.
Awesome, Rajveer. I love the outing thing you brought, that we can take students out and then ask them to write reports so they can really learn very well about that monument or the
Yeah.
place we're going to visit. And I also like the point you brought about newspaper. It's very important for a student also to be aware what things are going around, and if this habit is inculcated from the very young age, this would be very good thing. And flexibility in subject choices is also a very good point you brought. Great. Next, Tanvi, you can speak.
Hello. Yes, so Himani and Rajvi basically gave you the entire idea, but I just wanted to specify a little bit more about the first phase that Himani talked about. Uh, so children in this phase, they're not very cognitively developed to be able to understand the complex information that is being presented to them. So during this phase, we would encourage them more in play therapy, make them interact with the toys. So instead of asking them what's 2 plus 2, we would give them tangible toys that they can interact with, those numbers and alphabets. And also we would go for storytelling with colorful books, so colors tend to have a really positive effect on children, and research does prove this. So having colorful storybooks and handing them out to those would, bring about a really positive impact in this time. Also, so I worked with children before, and I realized that they are not able to label their emotions. They get very confused, and they more like sometimes deliver what they're trying to say in a very monotonous manner without realizing the impact, because they themselves are very confused as to what is happening. So they are able to feel those somatic, sensations. Like for example, if any of us are anxious, we are able to feel it in our stomach or maybe in our chest. We sometimes also feel nauseous. But children, they are very tiny at this age, and they are not able to label emotions. So also promoting social emotional learning, at this age would really help them, you know understand what they are feeling and why they are feeling the way that they are feeling. Okay, also incorporating picnics regularly is something that would really help them, because usually if you see, like, if our parents or the generation before our parents, they usually had this mindset that अरे आज तो picnic जा रहे हो, आज पढ़ाई नहीं होगी. Nothing like that, but something that actually benefits them even going for a picnic. So they do learn a lot, because at this age they're very curious and they like to touch everything, and that's how they learn. So taking them to like places that are very green or maybe historical places and explaining it to them, letting them touch those things so that they pick up the information faster, that would be really helpful. And one thing that is very important, so psychology uses the principle of scaffolding when it comes to children, and they say ki you should provide a very supporting environment for them but not assist them in their activities. So let them be independent, let them do what they're doing, but provide an environment that helps them, that supports them to carry out that task that they're doing, instead of intervening. So letting them do what they want to do. Also, this generation's parents, they are really encouraging play dates, and I think that's a wonderful idea that should be incorporated even more and generalized, so that everybody is doing it and encouraging it. This is something like obviously my ideal education system would have, but this is something that in today's world can also be implemented by encouraging parents and educating them and educating them about the benefits of play dates and play therapy. Yeah, I think that's all.
Great, Sanvi. You brought great points in about play theory, picnic, great efforts, excellent. Next, Praful, and there's a request. Can you all, the rest speakers who all are left, can you be more precise while speaking, because we extended like and exceeded also the time limit. So can we be more precise now?
Yes, for sure. So as my teammate has already discussed everything, so I'll just add some quick points about the assessment. So according to me, जो हमने एक प्लान सेटअप करा है एक न्यू एजुकेशन थीम का, तो उसमें हमें असेसमेंट भी थोड़ा चेंज कर देना चाहिए, असेसमेंट के क्राइटेरिया। तो उसमें जो सबसे मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट होना चाहिए वो होना चाहिए सेल्फ असेसमेंट। सो आई थिंक उन स्टूडेंट्स को शीट्स प्रोवाइड कराओ जिसमें कुछ क्वेश्चंस होने चाहिए, लाइक व्हाट डिड आई लर्न, व्हाट वाज डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी, व्हाट कैन आई इम्प्रूव, व्हाट आई एम प्राउड ऑफ, काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग्स। एंड some micro vivas, because टीचर की भी वैल्यू उतनी ही है उस पूरे एजुकेशन सेटअप में। सो रोट लर्निंग का कोई फियर नहीं होना चाहिए, बट एटलीस्ट क्योंकि एज अ टीचर वो वहाँ पे एज अ फैसिलिटेटर भी है, तो 2-3 मिनट्स का Q&A हो जिसमें वो एकदम प्रेशर फ्री होके अपनी चीजों को बता पाए एंड टीचर असेस कर पाए कि बच्चा समझा है कि नहीं समझा है। एंड कम्युनिटी इंटीग्रेटेड असेसमेंट्स भी होने चाहिए कि पेरेंट्स ने क्या ऑब्जर्व किया है उसके बिहेवियर चेंज में। एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली रिपोर्ट कार्ड को ग्रोथ कार्ड से एक्सचेंज कर देना चाहिए, जिसके अंदर वो उसके स्किल में क्या प्रोग्रेस आई है, उसके बिहेवियर में क्या चेंजेस आए हैं। 1 to 10 के मार्क्स ना देके उसको ग्रोथ कार्ड में चेंज कर देना चाहिए। एंड बस यही है कि असेसमेंट का जो क्राइटेरिया है वो थोड़ा सा चेंज हो जाए। And this is what I want to say. And yes, the most important thing, one of the most important thing is performance task. कि भी तो 3 घंटे का एग्जाम, 2 घंटे का एग्जाम ना लिख के वो परफॉर्मेंस बेस्ड टास्क हो। फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल उनको बोला जाए कि आप अपना जो इवन इन अ गवर्नमेंट स्कूल कि आप मैप करो कि आपके विलेज में क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हैं। आप एक बजट प्लान कर लो कि स्कूल कैंटीन के लिए क्या बजट होना चाहिए। आप एज माय टीममेट सजेस्टेड रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग का एक प्रोजेक्ट वो डेवलप करें, मेंस्ट्रुअल अवेयरनेस कैंपेन डिजाइन करें। तो इस तरह से परफॉर्मेंस बेस्ड टास्क उनको दे दिए जाने चाहिए, और इस तरह से कुछ इस तरह के क्राइटेरिया पे बेस्ड असेसमेंट होना चाहिए। एंड दिस इज व्हाट आई वांट टू से। थैंक यू सो मच।
Great, Praful. I love the point you mentioned in last about performance tasks. This can enhance the skills to the next level. Great. Uh, who is the next speaker, Sri?
Hi, we were supposed to give chance to Sneha and Pooja. Are they ready or?
Yeah, I
Sneha?
can speak now.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so sorry for that. Yeah. So my ideas when it comes to education, if I get a chance to reform the education, first of all, I will change the textbook-based rote learning and bring more activity-based, like including drama and other extracurricular activities into education. Because I think if we learn more things through drama, music, or any other things we are interested in, we will learn fast. And to take a case study, like in Kerala, I was part of that. There's a annual cultural festival called Kalotsav. It takes around almost 6 months of the entire school, uh, entire academic year. Like if it starts from August, it ends like around December only, and rest of the time we can devote to exams. But for the first 6 months, we are devoted to more such activities. We are like group activities. We play in groups for like in a state level competition. We go for that, and apart from that, we will also get certificates which we can use for admissions as well. So students who are weak in studies and more good in these extracurricular activities, they get a chance to showcase their skills, as well as they get a certificate to get into prestigious institutions if they don't study well. So just only focusing on theory is not enough. For me, focusing on skills as well is needed. And so education in overall should be more related to societies as well. To take another example from Kerala, like there was during the Kerala 2018 floods, there was the hope was spread through Chekuti dolls. Like these are made by small artisans And like in schools, we were we were forced to make, like we enjoyed making that dolls, and we were part of the change, and we were part of that hope after the Kerala 2018 floods. So students in overall should be part of the society, and we should just not just focus on grades, college or degrees. We should be part of the societies, and students should focus on societal changes. Education should be for that, for me. And education should not just focus on theory, it should focus on skills as well. That's my point.
Great.
Well spoken. Acha, sorry, Rishika, go.
Shri, you go, Shri, you go.
No, you go.
Great
Great,
point,
Sneha.
Neha.
This time you go. Sorry for that. Great point, Sneha. I love the way you spoke about all of the things. And now I would like to call upon Pooja.
Yes.
Um,
Hi everyone, I am audible.
yes, you're audible.
Yes, so today's topic is reimagining education from roots to wing. When we talk about roots, we refer to the strong foundation that education must give every learner. These roots include our basic skills, reading, writing, numeracy, but also the deeper values that guide our life is honesty, respect, empathy, discipline, and just like the roots of the tree hold it firmly to the ground, these values keep us steady in a changing world. Without strong roots, growth becomes weak and unstable, just like education. But roots alone are not enough. Education must also give us wings of imagination, creativity, curiosity, and innovation. The world today demands problem solvers, creator thinkers, and lifelong learners. Education is not just about memorizing lessons, scoring marks, or completing syllabus. It's a journey that begins with strong roots, our values, our culture, our traditional, our foundational skills. These roots help us stay grounded, give us identity, and teach us discipline, empathy, resilience. Without strong roots, no tree can stand, just like education. But the education should not stop at the roots. It must also give the wings gives the creativity, innovation, confidence. And when roots and wings comes together, education becomes transinformative. Strong values keep the student humble, powerful skills help them fly to the student. This perfect balance between the roots and wings create a balance between educated individuals, but responsible citizens are also made from this. As we step into the future, let's imagine classroom the uh, curiosity, schools that celebrate individually, and the system that builds both character and capability. Let us create an education system where every child feels rooted in strength and yet free to explore the limitless skills from our education system. Thank you.
Well spoken, Pooja. I love the way you spoke about all the factors which we need in our education. I don't think anyone else is left to speak. If there's someone, they can just turn on their mics and can speak.
Yeah, I am left to speak.
I can't see you. Just a minute. Okay, Sai. Yes. Okay, you are from which team? Let me just check.
I'm from Team 10.
Team second. Okay,
10.
got it.
No, I'm from Team 10.
No, not the mentor group. We had made
Oh,
team,
okay.
right?
Okay.
So team 2.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so like most of them have said almost covered every point. So I'll be just telling sort of things what everyone has said. So according to me, like education also must not be based on grades or books. It must be something which will ignite curiosity or foster creativity. And it must be something which will help to identify our potential. And also it must make us aware like how we could use our full potential to achieve something. Then education system must be something which values our emotional intelligence, then empathy, kindness alongside academic excellence. Then, like we have discussed in our previous policy Mandan session, like students must be also the co-creators and not just the passive recipients of education. So, like they could also decide how they should be evaluated. Then to talk about the PTA meeting system, students must also have a say in this. Like even parents could come to the classrooms and check how the students are performing. So like they will also get an idea. Then that's one suggestion. Then alongside academics, like evaluation of extracurricular activities, which is something I could say is from Kerala. We have this great mark system. So this is something I think which could be made compulsory so that this will enable the students to have a better understanding of the capabilities and skills. Like even for marks, at least they will participate in something. So like if they participate, they could realize, oh yeah, I am having this skill. So it's something I feel if it's mandated, then it will enhance the extracurricular capabilities, skills, and all. Then another thing is about mental health, which is something very relevant nowadays because like students are struggling with a lot of workloads, assignments, and there are a lot of people having stress. And when I have done this topic for my live action project, I have also have got many suggestions from students, like where they say their college or school their system, the council system is not working properly. Like there are no many awareness sessions. They are not aware of anything. Then some of them also suggested that they want personal mentors instead of the counselors. Like if they could assign personal mentors, then it will be really helpful. Like they could open up more to them. Then another thing I could say is like making a timetable more flexible. Like instead of having this continuous class system and only half an hour breaks and all, we could make more flexible timetables. And also teachers must be made aware, like the emotional status of students, then how stressed they are, then so that they could also reduce the burden or the workload which they give. So these are my suggestions. Thank you.
Well spoken, Sai. I love the way how you concluded everyone's ideas and added your own points too. So I hope no one else is left to speak. Yes, no one else is left to speak. Okay, so thank you guys. Thank you so much, guys, for joining this session. And what we created tonight was more than an activity, it was a glimpse of possibility. So, each of you planted your roots in wisdom and gave wings to dreams. I loved the way each of you spoke about it, and we will share the scores in the groups shortly, so let's just wait for it. And I love the way all of you spoke about it, so please keep joining and speak like that. You all can leave the meeting now. Thank you so much for joining this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.